Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Streamergenics. Tonight in Discord Studio, we have the one and only The Game Vacuum, Shano and Darty, Australian Facebook partners from the Down Under. How you gents doing this evening? For me, morning for you.
Unbelievably well. 20 coffees in.
20 coffees in. Shano's 4 tiny cups of coffee in.
Poor tiny double shots of coffee. Yeah. I'll be pumped for the rest of the day. Guaranteed.
So we're doing this podcast right now. It's a little after 7:30 p.m. for me Central Time, and it is about 10:30 right a.m. for you guys. Is that correct?
Yeah. The
okay.
Sunlight's just bouncing off the Colorbond fence outside,
so
right into my face.
We're playing with time right now, so we're literally in between the days. So this is actually pretty neat for me to do this because first time for me. Having some international guests on the show. And I really want to say thank you to both of you for taking time out of your busy lives to spend it with me. Really appreciate it.
More than welcome. It's fantastic to do it.
So Streamergenics is a podcast I started to shine some light on what it's like to be streamers, what it's like to do certain, jobs that others, don't do, like being a law enforcement officer or being a Facebook partner, things like that, because not everybody knows what it's like to step into the shoes of another individual that has these occupations, side hustles, things like that. So it's it's an informative podcast, but it's also ones that people can have questions answered that probably they didn't think about asking if they watch it or listen to it. Like, oh, I think if I just turn my camera on, I'm going to make a bunch of money and I'm going to be great at it. I'm going to make million or whatever. I'm going to be the next Ninja or the next PewDiePie or something like that. And it's not to knock people down and be like, yeah, you'll never be nothing. But it just lets you know, like, hey, this field is not exactly as easy as you think it is. And it takes a certain kind of person to do it. These two guys definitely got what it takes. Their stream's great. Very clean, very awesome, very fun, and they know what they're doing. So I'm going to be interviewing these guys tonight about how they do what they do and what insight they can give us and me at the same time. So can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? Like, how did you guys start being a duo team stream? Like, how did that become a thing? Were you guys streaming individually on your own at first, or did you guys team up throughout the way, or was it always just a team up from the very beginning? Any of you can answer. It doesn't matter. You guys can talk over each other. You can whatever you want to do.
The simple answer is I think we were set up by my wife. Basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Shauno used to work out here at the Police Citizens Youth Club in Emerald, where I'm located, and my wife worked for him in a capacity, and then she kind of started sitting there one day going, "I think you would get along really well with my husband." And
nice.
And then we were kind of awkwardly set up, and we sort of started, chatting to each other, that sort of stuff. And then we actually just started getting along, and away we went, and a friendship bloomed, and we've been sort of that way ever since. Shauno, that's a really simple version, to the point where Shauno was involved in my wedding, and it kind of sort of bloomed from there. Similar interests.
Yeah, it's like Darty got me into World of Warcraft, and we played that together for a long time. We were in the same guilds and shit, and we were always kind of in there as a duo, even like in the non-streaming sort of environment. And it was always bloody Shauno and Darty were always there together, playing off each other, telling jokes and being stupid, and it's just sort of, we just rolled on from there.
So you guys had some really good banter. You guys were working off each other. Like, man, this is like. It's like a really fun thing. You guys are friends now and all this stuff. And you're like, so did one of you stream already, or was it like something that you guys came into agreement at the same time? Like, hey, we should probably stream together.
Oh, I think it came out of like, me and Sean are both career men. We've been doing things for a long time, both in government jobs. And I think one day we was having conversations about the future and sort of wanting to do something of our own, wanting to try something different, wanting to move into something different. And then we kind of, I think it came around more organically and naturally that, these are the things we do together, these things we enjoy. And we started focusing on initially those things we just enjoyed. And our first iteration of what we do was a YouTube channel called Letho and Dard. back when we tried to use our acronyms and names, and we just started making YouTube videos. And we probably did that for a good year, and then that kind of died out just when life got in the way. I think I had kids and that sort of stuff. And then
how long ago was that, if you don't mind me interjecting?
Oh, 10 years ago, maybe now.
Yeah, like it was.
Wow.
It was. We got into that a really long time ago. Before we started streaming again, it was probably a good 8 years, and then we just sort of, after it kind of fizzled out, we just had a refocus. And we sort of said, well, what about this streaming thing? And we had another friend with us at the time too that sort of started the Game Vacuum with us, Dill as well, and we all jumped on and we sort of, we started playing with so it kind of morphed. Me and Shauna were doing the duo. Then we brought in a third guy and we were doing the trio with streaming, and then he fell off and we've just kept sort of moving on from there ever since, more in that streaming space. But we tried to do videos, but yeah, I think me and Shauna having our backgrounds in where we've done a lot of theatre together and like local theatre and stuff, it just felt like that natural fit of it kind of amalgamates a lot of things together that we naturally fell into or naturally do or naturally did that we enjoyed, and kind of streaming found that, that acting, entertainment, thespian, video games, us bantering, sort of those three things fell together to sort of give us, well, this medium works for us.
Okay. Well, that's really great. I mean, do you have anything to add to that, Shano?
No, that's about it. It's pretty much spot on. So yeah, the only disappointment with streaming is, as you sort of hinted at before, is like there was disappointment that after a couple of days of streaming, there wasn't a Bugatti parked in my driveway. I'm still waiting for that. The fame to come pour it in the front door. You know what I mean? But
absolutely, the fame should be overnight, right, for everybody.
Yeah.
I think Leo, I think you touched on this a little bit, Darty, previously, because you may have watched the one I did with Leo, and Leo did put a number out, and he said you have this whatever statistic it was, a better chance of being a professional basketball player than being a professional streamer in today's market. It's enough to sober somebody up and be like, well, maybe this is just for fun. Or if you have the capital or the overhead and the time, like for instance, no kids, no wife or no girlfriend or whatever to dedicate that kind of time, then maybe it might be easier for that person. But I feel like you two definitely have made your mark on Facebook. I love your streams, and if anybody doesn't know, they're called the Game Vacuum, of course, on Facebook. You can find them. They stream early hours in the morning for us in the United States, but nighttime for them. They do a lot of great things. So continuing on this conversation here about the streaming aspect, about the duo time, what makes you guys unique? I know being a duo stream is already unique, I feel, on Facebook, because I feel like they're out there. I feel like husband and wife stream, stuff like that. But I feel like everybody has their own uniqueness about them. I know what you guys do that make you unique. Can you tell the audience what makes you guys unique as a duo stream partnership?
I think that's actually a really good question. And sometimes I think it changes every time, almost every time we stream sometimes, because sometimes I think we're really clear on the way we engage the comedy, having it from a much, we just don't take anything overly serious. And in this medium of streaming and that, I think that's the thing me and Shauna saw is like, geez, a lot of people are taking things really, really seriously, and we come in more with that lens of, everything sucks, embrace it, and let's just push through it, like it's especially in the streaming game, but it just, in generally and in life as well, we sort of started thinking about the name, the Game Vacuum. We were like, well, what is it that we can focus on that tries to be that point of difference? And, it's that getting older. It's that, the relationships and the mateship and the friendships, that, and in some ways it's also a bit of a motivational aspect, that things can be ordinary, whether it's a game, whether it's this or it's that, but, push through it. And we just really try and focus on the funniness of it. We're not out to get 30 kills in a game. We're not out to be the best player out there. We're out to just try and find the things that are funny and fun and move forward with that,
That's one of the reasons why I got drawn into your guys' stream, because people who are listening, their motto is no one sucks worse than we do. And I was like, wow, these guys are really, very modest. They're like, they don't, because some streamers are like, oh, I gotta be the best. I gotta have the best. This, I have to be a monster at whatever game I play and all that other stuff. And you guys are just
Yeah.
having the best time, like with your chat and with the game. You guys make games within games. Like when it comes to YouTube working off each other, like certain aspects of the game, you'll turn into reels or YouTube shorts and things like that. And they're hilarious to me. I love them. I love the edits. I wish I was as good as an editor as Darty is. He has an IT background. He's like, it's like a second language for him. To me, it looks like, hieroglyphics, written in Braille in an interstellar language. So it's like, for me, it's like really difficult, but it definitely, your talent for your editing definitely shows in your videos, and they're really, really good.
And I appreciate you saying that, because me and Sean have long conversations about this, because the videos look really good, but according to Shorto, everything I make is just not funny.
What? Really? You think so? They're not funny?
I'm pretty hard taskmaster. Yeah. I'm also known, at least on stream, for not reacting to anything at all.
Yeah.
All my like angry Shorto, happy Shorto, laughing out loud Shorto. It's always the same face.
I feel like Darty tries to pull you into those certain like situations that he thinks is really hilarious, and then you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go loot over here. But it turns into something like really funny that maybe he wasn't intending, but it just turns out that way because he knows how to push your buttons a certain way. It's really good.
Yeah. And that comes back to just the way we play off each other, because we both know, like, individually sometimes we're a bit more deadpan. I know, at least. When I stream by myself, I tend to say nothing at all. I'm just there focusing on the game, because I'm,
right,
more sort of narrow focused than Darty. Darty obsesses with chat. Well, not obsesses, but he won't leave it alone.
Yeah.
He just doesn't leave it alone.
Well, that's what makes you guys a great duo partner. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wish I could stream with someone that I didn't have to edit. Yeah, you got it. You got it tonight. All right, cool. See you later. Someone else does all the edits. I ain't gonna worry about it. It'd be amazing. I mean, you guys should start a business. It'd be great.
Excuse me. I think it's part of the reason it came about too, was because at the time when we started, the three of us, Sean and I worked night shifts. He could, never really sure. I had kids. The other fellow had kids. So we actually did it more from a fact of how can we be consistent as well early on,
right?
All being older, like we're all like, I'm 40, Seano's 50, the other fellow we had, he's early 30s, all got kids. It was it was almost a necessity thing as well at some point. So, well, if we want to actually grow something, we could only give it one night a week. Well, obviously we're not getting somewhere as well. So, and we've got a lot of learnings out of that also. So it's kind of been both from, hey, we get along well together, but also there are just some nights we just don't want to do it. And if you can say to someone, can you pick up the bat and run tonight?
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to go, yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's really great that you guys have that ability to do that, because I know for me as a streamer, and anybody else who's listening is also a streamer on their own. It's like, you work a long day. It's like, it'd just be easier to game offline tonight. We'll try again tomorrow. It's not hard to fall into a bit of a streaming rut, especially when like last night was so comfortable not having to worry about streaming stuff like that. Let me do it again. And it just turns into a thing. And then it's like, where did you go? It's like, oh, you're on a vacation and you didn't tell nobody. So I understand where you're coming from with that. I get that. When did you guys first start on Facebook gaming as a streaming partnership?
What was that, Sean? Like 2 years?
Two, nearly 3 years ago now, maybe?
Yeah.
So was it right before or the start of COVID?
It was a little bit before COVID.
A little bit before COVID.
It was a little bit before COVID. We were sort of playing with things and working through. I think we did a lot of our learning through COVID and pre-COVID. Just probably wasn't the consistency. Probably didn't. We try to always do one night a week during the week. Like weeknights are always our way to go. I think during that time, it's really been about consistency and quality. Have been the last few years, I reckon. That's probably where we've been. But yeah, it was about 3 years ago now, and mainly PUBG. We started sort of finding that base game because we hated Warzone. Hate's a strong word, but we just never really got into the Warzone stuff.
Understandable.
And we're trying to find a game that we all sort of enjoyed and played together, and can also be ourselves in.
Right.
Is a good way. Find the right game to do that in.
Yeah, you got to, we like to find games where we can have a bit of fun with. I think one reason we stayed away from Warzone, I mean, the game is so busy. It's like, and you got to be so game focused with that.
There's a lot going on in that game. That's for sure. I could say a lot of things about that game that I probably won't touch on.
And it's probably not just that game too. We tried to find, like when we first started, we just tried to find games where we could be us or a bit slower, that had moments of downtime where you could drive a car off a cliff with someone in it for no good reason. And that's so yeah. About 3 years ago, and sort of and at that time too, Facebook was very new. It was like, where do we sit? Where do we go? What do we do?
Right.
Things like the discoverability of Facebook really drew us in, because we were talking to real people, people we knew, as well. So that was the starting point, about 3 years ago. But yeah,
I mean, you guys noticed I think every streamer went through this, including myself, during or pre-pandemic, and then during pandemic, and then post-pandemic, how the audience went from, normal audience to holy crap, everyone's at home, not doing shit, and you can watch a bunch of streams, to now, all right, the pandemic's over, everyone's going back to work, going outside. There's been, that huge volatility in numbers. Did you guys dealt with that, I'm sure, as well over in Australia, correct?
Well, it was funny for us. Like, I don't know if it was the time we were streaming the games we were playing. I don't know. We didn't really experience a big upflux. Like, we watched other streamers kind of do it, and we looked at times, and it was because we had the only time we really had with young kids and everything. We couldn't really, maybe we couldn't really take advantage of the opportunity.
Okay.
Just because, but yeah, I have to admit, like, even through all of that, we stayed pretty consistent. Like, I watched a lot of other streamers I saw really grow in numbers and have opportunities open up, but we were consistent through it all. And it makes you kind of stop and think, well, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Times, like, you kind of look at it all. But yeah, we never. I think in some ways, looking at the landscape now, we were kind of lucky that we didn't experience a big jump up and a downgrading, because I think it would have, I've seen it a lot where it can quite easily deflate
a
lot of individuals as well, because it makes them start, double guessing and thinking about what they're doing, what they're trying to do, and often the times, I think unnecessarily, most of the time, in that landscape as well. So look, I think looking at it now, we were pretty lucky. We stayed pretty consistent through that period. We didn't have big growth, but it was fun to watch other people that we'd started out with in the landscape have those booms, and look at how they're dealing with it and what they've gone through and what they've learned. It was interesting to watch that journey.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you guys stayed consistent, and it wasn't like a situation where you had all these crazy numbers and then it was kind of like fizzled out into like, oh, now I'm just trying to get back there again, because that did happen to a lot of people, including myself.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I feel like I'm at a point in time in my streaming career that, if we're just talking about me for a second here, that I'm just happy just to stream when I can at this point. It's just a side thing. It's fun to do, and I have a community that I enjoy, and it shows on your guys' streams too that you guys are very engaging in your community. You guys have little leaderboards and things like that. Lords of Suck in your guys' chat. You guys definitely utilize the Knoxbot to its full potential, and I love that about you guys. It's really great.
Yeah,
really great to see. I like being a part of it. So, I mean, you were talking about being consistent. So what keeps you guys motivated? What keeps you guys going, hey, we're going to continue this whole endeavor. We're going to continue streaming. We're not giving up on it. It's something we really enjoy doing. What is the core game Vacuum like? What's the power that comes from you guys? Like, what makes you guys keep going? That's really what the question is.
Yeah, I think, I don't know about Shauno, but I know in my, I've done a corporate gig. Like, I've done that, 9 to 5, grind. Shauno still does it. He does a bigger grind than I do, and the reason I for me, that this is fun. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are days with anything you wake up and you're like, oh geez, I could probably not stream tonight. Like 100%, and you got to look at that and always look at your energy. But it's when you're able to sort of have the opportunity to kind of do something that is I guess, having hindsight, being older and having hindsight, and looking at those things and looking at what else is out there. I look at this as going, I'm making videos and posting stuff and understanding what it is that I would like to, the aim I'm trying to get to be successful, and being very clear on what success is for us, is important. But it's just fun, like, compared to what else you could be doing.
True.
This is fun. And I think I think that can get easily lost sometimes in the landscape of the world that, that we see out there, especially in the streaming space. And yeah, I don't know if you got anything different, Shauna, but that's for me what I.
Oh, well, yeah, like for me at the moment, being a police officer, working full time, this is more of a hobby sort of angle for me at the moment. It'd be great if it would be, if we really take off and we could do this full time, so I'd totally jump on board with that. I'd love to do that. But, at the moment, it's the hobby sort of angle. And then, I'm in the last 10 years of my career. So going forward from there, after I retire, I see a lot of boredom in the future, and hopefully this is going to fill that gap. You know what I mean? It's going to give me something to carry on with, sort of post career. So that's what we're hoping for.
Well, to give you a little bit of hope, there is a few Australian Facebook partners that are retired that do stream, and they love it. You know, so they get more time to do it, and they really enjoy it. So, if nothing else, you still got this guy over here. So I definitely
the older he gets, the better chance we have of going viral. You see, like older gamers seem to do it. We just get older, Shauna.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely could be part. Well, what are the future goals and aspirations of the game Vaccum? Like for me, I don't want to ever be like, oh my God, Joe Rogan famous on my podcast. I couldn't handle that. I know that about myself. I don't even know if I want to be a household name, to be honest with you. I'd like to be regionally recognized. That you would. Hey, everything's got a price tag. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that's my thing. I wouldn't mind being a little regional, just enough to keep me comfortable, happy, and probably also in the shadows at the same time. You know what I mean? Like a really, really cheap Batman is what I'm talking about. Yeah. But for you guys, you kind of already gave it away a little bit, Shano. But what are the real goals and aspirations of the game Vaccum stream? What is the goals?
Well, I think, and Shauna hit it, like very basically I think there's two sides of it. There's a personal side, which is just making enough where we can, like in Shauna's case, even he can cut back a little bit. Like I'm actually able to do it full time at the moment because of changes we've made in our own life. And I think that's where we measure success sometimes, Success isn't bringing in, like I've had the $100,000 a year plus job, those kind of things, and then change a lot of things up to sort of say, well, can we do it a much smaller wage? So like, I'm kind of living the dream at the moment with an opportunity to make it grow. And I think holistically what we're trying to do is, if we look at just us, is make more money so that, like as Shauno said, he can draw back a little bit and do a bit more, move away from those 9-to-5 jobs and focus more on the Vaccum overall. But from a stream standpoint, it's just really building, that community. And like you said, we are very community focused and trying to really build that side of things, because I think if you build a strong community, the success follows you. And and again, it depends on what your vision of success is, and it should be different. And it's like you say, it shouldn't be just getting famous because that leads in all kind of paths. It's be like being really understanding of what success looks like for you and what life looks like for you with that success.
Absolutely.
And then measuring the things around that. But like my aim at the moment is like, if we, like small goals, kind of like if we can just cover a house payment once every month, and that's great. And then we can grow a bit more than, we're doing this, and then we can get Shauno sort of offline a bit more doing his stuff, and it's just that growth over time. And just, I guess the biggest goal for the stream right now is just consistently seeing new faces in the stream, consistently seeing new people come through. That's kind of the short-term goal for us as well, is just trying to open it up a bit more and getting new people to walk in also.
Gotcha. 100%. Understood. What about you, Shauno?
That's pretty much it. Just to sort of keep the growth going in, trying to find the right platform to make that happen. I think that's all.
Now, when you're saying right platform, do you mean you're not talking about different streaming platform? You're just talking about what platform that you guys like build within your stream to make that happen, correct?
I think it's a bit of both, really.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it's one of those things at the moment where I think there's a community focus, and there's what you guys do as a stream, and building that community that you're saying, okay, what can I do and what can I offer as a stream, and that sort of stuff. And then the next part, like any marketing thing, you kind of got to look at, well, where are the eyes?
Right.
Who's looking? who's out there, what's going on in the streaming space. You got to be very like we've never been guys that'll kind of sit here and go, oh, this platform is not that, this platform is not this we've kind of look at all platforms and what they have to offer, and sort of what, and we don't expect anything from a platform. It's like they do what they do, and our job is to morph and mold and work within the boundaries of what we've got to work with. But you do, and we've only ever streamed on Facebook as well, only ever. So, we've got to look at, the environment shifting, changing, a lot of new stuff is happening. So it's where the eyes are. We've always got to keep an eye out for where the eyes are and what that looks like. And, as I said, it's being ready to be adaptable,
right? Just be able to be malleable. Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's all good. But, we see it a lot just with, what we call the video content that Daddy's putting out. He puts it across all the different platforms like TikTok, YouTube,
right.
Reels or whatever. And, the same clip will get vastly different responses on each platform.
Right.
And it's, trying to dial in sort of what each platform's looking for is seems to be difficult.
It's hard to find that formula, isn't it? Because it's like one video that you don't think is going to do much does all this crazy numbers, and then you do one it's like, oh, this is going to be great, and it's like it's so different. It's like it's all out of your hands in an aspect way about it. And for me, I know what you're talking about, because I used to do reels all the time and things like that, and they do well, but I don't feel like they pulled in a lot of people to the stream. Like they got a lot of viewership. They got a lot of interaction. Like I had one video that had over 60,000 views or 45,000 views or whatever it is. And I hadn't seen any face in my stream for it. And I was like, well, that's kind of discouraging a little bit, but yeah, great for the playtime and the reach and things like that. But I mean, and then you get into a whole other thing with this whole streaming world that we live in, which is the new emergence of kick.com. So that's been a huge thing. Facebook kind of had some issues with their metaverse. There were some layoffs in Facebook gaming and things like that. And I think it was a huge trickle down effect. A lot of people try to stick with it. I'm still sticking with it the best I can with Facebook. And for months after the situation happened, it was just continuously over and over again problems with the platform. Integrations, things not working, chat not reloading, just, live notifications was one of the big ones for a lot of the streaming buddies that I have, because if your people aren't getting live notifications, they're not going to know you're live just by going on Facebook and be like, oh crap. I mean, it does happen, but those live notifications, people definitely hugely rely on to get the folks back in, keep that going and getting their stream out there into the recommended slot, because the more reactions and views that you get in the very beginning definitely helps you out on the streaming platform that is Facebook. So it was a big discouragement, and Facebook, kick.com started, and a lot of people just said, screw this shit, I'm out, I'm going over there. People were very, drawn in by the 95% 5 split on income for supporters and all that good stuff, which I'm over here thinking, okay, Darty and Shano, I thought about this about you guys. You guys are Facebook partners, and I know a Facebook partner, I'm not going to say his name on here, that left Facebook completely and went over to Kick. But, that's got to be a huge decision to make, because getting Facebook partnership is, at the time when they had it available for people to get, was incredibly difficult for people in the U.S. I know in the U.S. for our criteria was very difficult to hit. And even if you hit it, you didn't guarantee that you got it. So I know that if I was a Facebook partner and I saw a stream platform like Kick, it would be very attractive to go there, but I would still, find it very hard to move away from Facebook gaming as a partner. So what kind of have you guys dealt with any struggles like that? Like, I know you guys probably, if you don't want to say anything that, you don't have to. I'm just saying you guys, you can answer it any way you want.
I think it's a very, look, and our partnership came around very differently as well. We're in a different market,
right?
We're in the ANZ region, and there was a point in time where there was a lot of growth going on in that space. Now bringing on people as part of the growth program. So I'll probably just say that our step to partnership was probably a lot simpler than other, just because right place, right time, right region.
Sure.
You know, but in saying that, you're 100% right. Like, it is a interesting thing, and I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, and I'll say this too, and Sean, tell me if I'm wrong. Like, again, a lot of the problems that were had on Facebook, I admit, we just kept streaming, kept going live, we didn't really, like, if the platform was having problems, people told us about it. We acknowledged it. We'd raise the tickets, but we just, it's always been us. We just keep going. Like, and then me and Sean have very real conversations back where we're like, man, is this growing? Is this getting where we need to be? What does the stats look? What do the numbers look like? And again, I think it does help me and Sean. If we've got a lot of life experience behind us, you know what I mean? Like, we're older. We've done the corporate jobs where we're dealing with massive budgets. We're doing, like, these are conversations that aren't like, Shauno's, the good thing about Shauno, he's a lot more down the line than I am, whereas I'll be a bit more like, oh, but if we, and he's a lot more, no, shut up, man.
He's very cut and dry.
Yeah. His job is left him very cut and dry, where I can be very, I guess, emotional and very sort of like, what do you think about things? But look, at the end of the day, it comes down to that business and that feel of growth and where you, and I don't like being being aware of your community and being very open about the conversation about where you see yourself heading up. But the best thing I heard from another streamer recently that I follow and watch was that he was talking about different platforms and being very aware of what it is you're looking for platform. Because he sort of talked about, people that come to Facebook and a YouTube is a great example, not always coming to that platform for a live stream. There's a lot going on those platforms already that you're battling against as a live streamer, whether it be, the viral picture, the videos, the reels. A lot is happening in those spaces. Whereas a Twitch and a Kick, people are going there for most of the time for one reason, and that's to watch a live stream. So I think in your own mind too, it's about trying to sort of figure out, well, what's the best medium for what you're trying to achieve? Because, when people turn on Twitch, they're going there for one reason, that's to watch a live stream. When people turn on Facebook, they might watch you for a little bit, but then there's 100 other things that might also be competing against you as well that you've got to be aware of and change your. And I think it also makes people that maybe stream on, again, this is a thought that I've had, on a Facebook and a YouTube, it almost requires them to work a bit harder to keep someone engaged. Like, like Facebook and the like system, like you don't get likes on any of the other platforms like a Kick or
correct.
So like you whether people are watching or not, you really don't know. You're just looking at a number on a screen and the interaction in your chat. But every time you sort of end a Facebook video on Facebook, you're like, oh, 2 people like that stream. Well, that was shit. But yet, you don't have that kind of constant viewpoint on a lot of the other platforms as well. So
I guess it's a double-edged sword, and if you think about it that way, because there's the other side of it too. It's like there's people on Facebook that will not get Kick, or they will not get a Twitch to move over. That's not to say that people wouldn't follow you because they're dedicated, 100%. But there's a lot of people that's like, no, I already got this app on my phone. I don't want another one. I don't want to go through it, blah, blah, blah. And they'll stick with what they know best. And that's just the way it is,
100%.
So, I mean, it's all up to, I like what you're saying. It's all what you're trying to achieve, what medium you want to be on, and where you're trying to go with it. If money is your main concern, I would, people that want to go to Kick and do that, that's fine. And you're right. People that are going to Kick or Twitch, they're going there specifically just to watch a live stream. Now, you're right. Facebook is different. There's a lot going on. Someone with ADD might, oh my God, there's just so much to do, So I definitely understand that. That's another reason why I haven't completely made the switch over. I've toyed with the idea myself, if I'm being quite honest with both of you. I thought, maybe Facebook just ain't it, because before I left for Germany, I was getting crazy numbers. It was, I was getting the pathway to partnership started showing up and all these things. And I was talking to a few Facebook partners to see if I can get lined up. I was like, holy crap, this could probably happen. And then as soon as I leave, it all goes to shit. I was like, God damn it. Now I got to start all over again, which is fine. I've had, some deep conversations with myself, like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep on going. If we set some goals, that's fine. But if we're continuously just as a streamer, if you're continuously, I feel like if you're continuously just trying to get to the top so bad, you might lose sight of why you started to do this in the beginning and what you have already invested in it when it comes to the people that come in and watch you, the relationships you've built and things like that. You don't want to lose sight of that. Because I think the biggest thing when it comes to streaming is the people that watch you. It's the community. It's the people that come back every time you go live. I think that's the most important thing of it. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah, and that's why it's 100%, and that's why it's never been like I've watched a lot of individuals, and I'll use the word. I watch a lot of stream, and again, they're all going through their own journey. So this is just this is more of an observation than it is a fact, you know. But I've watched a lot of people get jaded and immediately swatch, immediately change, immediately move. We just watch and then kind of start a conversation with the community about, you know, what we'd like to see happen, what our goals are, and even just in the streams, this is what we'd like to achieve. This is, you know, we want to get Sean offline, want to work towards these things, and you know, I think over time too, the conversations start to happen naturally, because it really, this game, I've noticed this streaming game, it's really easy to get jaded and frustrated because, like you said before, like, you know, you can see it, it's so close, and then for some reason it just goes.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's where me and Sean have been lucky. We've never, and this is going to sound really stupid because it's also a reflection on the content we're putting out, but we're lucky we've never had that sort of like moments of we could blow up. Because it just gives us this. Well, we're enjoying what we're doing. We're enjoying the community we're building. We're enjoying the people we've got around us. Let's keep that moving in slowly but surely. And I think what it's also made us is the more time we've had with that, it's putting us in a position to be ready for a little bit of larger growth. Sure. You know, where, you know, getting that point where, I think we could take on a bit more, which is interesting. But yeah, it's definitely an ongoing conversation that we have between ourselves and with our community.
There's always that little bit of debate on the hook, like, and I think it is it's worked in our favor. Like you're talking about the COVID thing and the growth in numbers, we didn't really experience that. So, you know, we're not feeling any loss there. We've just had very, you know, admittedly very slow growth, but we're still growing slowly. And I've always got the sense like something's about to happen. And we're just waiting for it. You know, we're just waiting for it. It's just there. I can just
feel it. You can just feel it.
You know, we're just going to find out where that line is. You know what I mean?
There's always a disturbance in the force. It's just when it's going to happen, right? That's
yeah. I think it's like a gambling problem. Yeah.
Man, you can't be wrong.
You know what I mean?
What?
I think if you focus on quality content,
right?
You know, getting the stuff to a point, able to work on the craft, or you know, so that when the opportunity comes to see a little bit of a spike in growth, ready to take advantage of it, is kind of how we are placing ourselves.
I think Wojo is the one that got me turned on to you guys, because Wojo is such a dedicated follower to the Good Vibe tribe that I'm, you know, involved with Bearded Leo and all those other people. And Wojo is always a very dedicated follower, very, very great viewer when it came to being engaging and always in the chat and things like that, and wanted to be part of things. And he's like, I think he came to me. He's hey Parker, you got to check out these guys, and that's how I ended up in your guys' stream. And I was like, he's completely right, you know. So you guys always got me coming back when I can in the mornings when I'm having coffee and getting ready for work. You guys just going off and you know, bantering and things like that, back and forth, and it's really fun to watch. It really is. You guys do a really, really good job. You guys really do. So for me, it's like if I'm watching a stand-up comedy show, if I'm watching a movie or something like that, and this is just the way I am. It's hard for me to like be laugh out loud or like, oh my God, you know, I'm not very animated when it comes to like the things that I watch and stuff like that. But when I watch you guys, it really does make me laugh. It makes me want to come back. When something like that affects me to that point, I'm like, this is good. So you guys, whatever it is you're doing, it's working. It's working for me, and it's got to be working for somebody else. And you guys have said you're growing, even though it's slow, it's still growth, right? So as long as you keep your eye on that prize, I'm sure you guys will be just fine. I did want to ask, what game do you guys play? Is there a game that you two play together that's like, that has like, it's been the game that you guys stream together that produces the best streams you've ever had? Which game would that be? There might be more than one, right?
Well, it's funny because, like, again, we played a lot of PUBG in the early days,
Right.
and we always had fun on that, because and the game, look, for us, the game becomes a secondary thing. Like, I had someone last night come into stream, and he's been a long time follower of us as well, and we're playing a lot of Diablo 4 at the moment, and he's like, I hate Diablo, but I'm here for the laughs and the
absolutely.
it's. So we try and even though, and this is where this is probably contributing to some of the slow growth that we have on Facebook. Facebook, to succeed on Facebook, the algorithm is kind of built around that. You need that base game.
Yep,
it is. And we've always kind of gone, yeah, we get that, but like we can only play so much of one game before me and Sean get bored. It's just how
a
we
very
are.
very tough thing. Yeah.
We're just not built that way, and we tried for a long time with PUBG, and we enjoyed it, but probably even on Facebook too, the market share you get in the different parts of the world, it looks at certain parts, certain games, and how we interacted our stream. We kind of went not even very early on, probably a good year or so into it, that because we are very chatty and we are very engaging and we talk a lot of stream, that maybe the market we were attracting with that particular game, and I'm sounding very businessy now, which is not really what I'm up, but you have to look at the the analytics of it all as well. Wasn't bringing in the people that would probably chat to us as much as we'd like, and get that conversation started. So we had to really have a look at that. So since then, we've been very, very fluent in the games we play. We're just trying to find games that we can play together with,
right? Have
fun with, have conversations in, as much as we possibly can. Sometimes we like them, and we have a great time. We do find ourselves going back to PUBG sometimes. We're a bit unsure of where to go to next because we're comfortable in how we interact and how we can interact with chat and each other in those games.
Okay.
That kind of game. So we always kind of find ourselves falling that. But I have to say, we don't have a game anymore that we can sit here and say, that's the game we go to. We've got games on the horizon that are looking good, like your GTA 6s and your,
oh gosh, it's gonna be crazy.
And your Red Dead Redemptions online and those kind, which I think would suit us. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'll keep talking.
You want to add anything to that, Shona?
No, I was going to say, I think PUBG is probably because we've got there's such a amount of history there and amount of content.
Right.
Probably some of our funniest stuff, dare I say, is probably on PUBG. And that goes back to, as Aaron said, just because we're comfortable there, like we know how to take time there, or we know what to do there to sort of make things more entertaining. And, we've changed it up a lot with a lot of different games, and that's always been our goal, that the game's like the background to the conversation more so than the focus of the stream. So, yeah, and that's what we're going for, sort of moving forward. As long as we can both get on there together and sort of have a bit of fun and keep the energy up, and they're the games we're looking for.
Understood. It's really interesting that every podcast I've done so far, which ain't many, but they always go back to PUBG. Like it always becomes a thing because PUBG there was no other game like it when it came out, so it was like this huge thing, and everybody was watching. It was hugely important to everybody, and when it got banned in India, our viewer base went up like crazy because they can't play it, but they can watch it. So there was that influx of viewership from that country, and then mobile kind of took over after that. But it always goes back to PUBG, and a lot of people like myself started out like you guys did, probably playing PUBG for streaming it and things like that. And it's such a sometimes a nostalgic thing to go back and play it and just to see how crazy it's changed now, because it's so far from removed from what it was when it first started. But it's good to see guys like you still go back and play it every once in a while.
It's funny, we go back to and we'll find ourselves we'll go back to, and we'll find ourselves when we go back and play it, we'll have a bunch of fun doing, again, not even really focusing on the game, just doing stupid stuff within the game. You know what I mean? But again, we get old to it. Because we're just kind of been doing it for a bit. We're kind of like, oh, that was fun. Do you want to do it again tomorrow night?
It's now it's good in doses instead of every dang day, right?
But that again, that's now with us with a lot of games, like a lot of games. Like I can see we've been playing a lot of Diablo, but I'd probably say it's on the horizon very soon where we're going to be like, Okay, yep, time to let's go. Let's move on.
I like that you guys played Generation Zero a lot because I loved Generation Zero, and all my friends like, it's stupid. There's no one else to fight. It's just robots. I'm like, this game is actually really good. You just got to give it a chance. And a couple of my friends played it with me, and we really, really enjoyed it. So it was really good to see you guys go back and forth, like Darty trying to get on a bicycle, and the animation was crazy. So guys, check that out on their channel. Watch that; it's very funny. So
it's those kind of games. Yeah, those games are the ones for us that we're the golden gooses. If we can find more of those kind of open world game that we can get on to get, that's our bread and butter. It's kind of where we want to end up, I think.
I feel like with the future of gaming, this year is going to be a great year for video gaming. I in my opinion, I think that, because I mean, I know Starfield. I think it's Starfield. Is that correct? Is that the name of it? That Bethesda is coming out with 25 years in the making. I know it's going to be a single player game when it first comes out. I haven't heard anything about any kind of multiplayer, but if they did, that would be insane.
It's just 100% only single player, but I'm gonna play it anyway.
Yeah, we'll be backseat gaming that like you would believe. Sean will probably be playing that, and I'll be behind him talking crap.
There you go. See, there's a will, there's a way. So I wanted to like we've talked about all the streaming things. Now I want to get a little bit into the individuality of the two people I'm interviewing this evening or this morning for you guys. You did say something about theater a little while ago. Was there some kind of performing arts situation going on in the Darty past, or?
Oh yeah. We spent when Sean and I used to live in the same town as me. We spent a number of years doing a lot of local little theatre. I've been the president of a little theatre company. So my first probably 10 years before kids out of school, we did a lot of like small plays.
Wow, really?
Kind of things as well. So it was spent a lot of I actually met my wife via theatre. Also, so it's like there's a big long history of us being in that theatre space. In that performing space, and like I said, it kind of transitioned into what we do now. You know what I mean? Like we're not afraid to be in front of people.
Well, that's great. That's really cool. Shano, I never would have thought that you would have been in theater. You're just so stoic. He's really, like so stoically.
Like a couple of interviews, I don't think anyone would really pick us for the theater guys, but there's something about theater, like, and Aaron drew me into it. Almost reluctantly, I think, but I went into a little theatre, and I was, straight away, I just got like this leading role in this little play, and I freaking nailed it.
You killed it, huh?
Yeah.
Something about being on stage, and it's probably the same in the streaming aspect, but it's like, I don't know. There's something different about it that lets you sort of come out. Whereas, like, in general, out on the street sort of interactions, you're more, keeping to yourself.
That's 100% understandable. I mean, I feel like what you're trying to say, what I'm trying to understand is like you're probably talking about your creative spark, maybe, is what you could be like more, you'd show more of yourself in a certain way that you probably couldn't if, like you said, if you're just walking down the street or just at work one day, yada, yada. So that's really cool. I didn't know that you guys were involved in that. That's really awesome. You are a law enforcement officer in Australia. Is that correct, Shona?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Oh, I mean, the mustache probably would have gave it away to people watching.
No, it's not part of the uniform, actually.
It's not. Oh crap! I thought he took it off at night when he was done. He took it off.
No. It's the mustache. How the mustache come about a few years ago, didn't it, Darty? Where I think I did the Movember. It's like the a yearly thing. I think you've got it.
Is that the No Shave November? Is that what you got? Oh, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got you.
Thing. So they don't shave. They call it Movember, and I did that one year, and then just decided to keep it, and then it became a theme.
A thing,
on stream, and then it became a thing within the game vacuum. And now we've got overlays and things all about the Mo. So now it's staying.
I remember you shaving it off in our chat, almost revolting.
Yeah,
backlash when it came off that one side.
Yeah. Who the hell is this? And this is unacceptable. And it was hilarious.
There was a mutiny about to happen when the mustache was shaved off. Don't do it again. So, you learned once. That's all you needed, right?
I've threatened them. You got to give me, donate so much or it's coming off.
Okay.
So yeah, the mustache.
Holding the mustache hostage. It's hilarious.
Right. Yeah, it's more of a game vacuum uniform than
That's good.
law enforcement.
And you've been in law enforcement for 10 years. Is that correct?
No, I've been in law enforcement for 32 years.
Holy shit, I was way under on that. 32 years in law enforcement. Holy crap.
So I've got less than 10
old
to
as
go. I age out when I'm 60, so that's 8 years away.
Wow. Okay. My podcast before last, I interviewed a streamer who is also a law enforcement officer in the United States, and he was telling me the things that he goes up against being a law enforcement officer at the same time. Different, country here, different, municipality, different rules, social media and things like that. Have you ran into any issues with being a law enforcement officer and a streamer at the same time, or has it just always been two separate things? It's never been an issue for you. You never had any kind of things come up about that, or
no major conflict. I mean, it's our stream or our chat knows what I do. No one really delves into it too much, or anything. No one gives me grief about it or anything like that. And as long as I keep work very separate from
100%
streaming too. I just don't. I'm not known to even talk about work at all, even at home.
Awesome. There you go.
We can tell when he's had a bad day, though. We can tell when he's had a bad day.
Yeah.
You got to deal with some things that, I will never see in my lifetime. And, someone's got to do it. That's really where we got down to during that podcast was, he said the same thing. He's like, I don't really even tell my wife how my day was because, I'm going to do it again tomorrow. I'm going to see some things tomorrow I don't want to see, or I'm going to deal with something. This is one of those things that someone's got to do it. And it's the same also thing in his stream. People don't really broach the subject too much. I mean, he's open to talking about it if someone has a question or something like that. But, I feel like people respect that, so good for you. And thank you for your service to you for what you do as well. Sean, I really think it's really great that you do that. And we hope that, this takes off for you guys so you don't have to wait another damn 10 years to continue doing this. So usually, is there anything else that you guys would like to add to this podcast? Usually at the end of the podcast, I usually do about an hour. And I kind of give it to the guests if they want to add anything that I maybe either forgot or didn't bring up during the podcast. I want to add to it. Could be about anything, streaming, it could be about jobs, it could be advice to somebody else who's even thinking about doing this type of medium.
I guess this is a first for us. So even both of us sort of walking in, we were like, oh, we'll see how so there wasn't a lot of. The good thing about us, we didn't come in with a lot of expectations. We were like, oh, let's have a conversation. And
that's really all it
is. So I can't say we've got anything. Do we think that we've missed or not? No, it's been good. You do a good job in engaging and talking and leading a conversation, which is good.
Well, I appreciate it. 100% appreciate it. I will offer a little bit of advice when it comes to a game you should stream.
Hit us up.
You guys should stream American Truck Simulator. You should do.
Of course we should. Of course we should.
You guys should do road trains from Australia, duoing it up in a convoy, and you should just. I mean, come on. I mean, I would love to see that. I could just only imagine what would happen.
I'll reinstall that. We'll give it a crack just for you, mate. I've watched a few truck simulator streams, and it's like, and they get massive numbers over there. It's like I keep telling them, I don't get it, man. They're just driving a truck.
That's all it is. That's all it is. It really, I mean,
exactly.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because even like we looked at simulators early on, and we looked at GTA like role playing, and shit. It was hilarious because Sean was like, he's talking about I don't get the simulators, like I don't understand it, and he's like, what about GTA role play? He's like, dude, I'm a cop in real life. I don't want to role play. I don't want to come home and spend the next 5 hours role playing a police officer in GTA Online. I'm like, yeah, man, that's fair. I'm just like,
have you guys looked into what it really takes to do that? I did that for probably about 4 or 5 months. I did the whole law enforcement role play in a server on, GTA 5, and It is like I had to have an interview with the chief. I had to read a standard operating procedures booklet. I have to follow, all the rules. I have to write reports. I have to remember what the hell just went down and write. It is a job, man. And I was like, I did it. I did it for a while, and at the end of the day, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because it's work. It's an actual job. I felt
if we come up against that, like with role playing, we'd be like, "Yep, sorry, thanks for your time." Ta-da. We played with that a little bit with World of Warcraft back in the day with guilds and interview to come in. It's like, no, screw that. Like, I'm not that invested in games that I want to have to, please some guy that I don't know over the internet just to get in his little grooves. Like, screw you, buddy. I'll just play my game.
Like what Danny Glover says the best. We're too old for that.
We're too old for this shit. Getting too old for this shit, Riggs.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's why we ended up like, 2-manning, 5-man dungeon, that sort of stuff. Because we just
I kind of understand that a little bit, because for me it was always in the very beginning stages of my streaming career, it was always, PvP gaming. It was always, me versus somebody else. And then for, a long time that's what I did. And then I started just really having trouble like having the patience for that kind of gameplay. So, I mean, I do play Call of Duty, PUBG sometimes and things like that just to hang out with my old friends I used to play video games with. But my main thing is probably kind of what you guys do a little bit, but mine is the truck sim 100% because I ain't got to worry about somebody else ruining my game.
Yeah.
It's just me in the open road and, AI traffic that gets in my way and I got to scream at them. Other than that, it's a great way to really engage with people. But you guys don't really have a trouble with that in your streams. You guys do an amazing job engaging with your community. I love watching it every time I get a chance to. And I really hope, that you guys definitely keep on moving forward. I do want you guys to go ahead and promote your stream, promote any socials that you guys have right now, if you don't mind. And I'll make sure I put them in the video and I put them in the description of the video on YouTube as well and get you guys out there more.
Every platform that's out there, it's the Game Vacuum. It's straight up. We've got a Discord, everything like that available, but I think it's on Linktree too, Game Vacuum. But if you're looking for us, just type in the Game Vacuum on the platforms, and we should pop up from TikTok through to Instagram, over Facebook, YouTube, Kick, Twitch.
How is vacuum spelled, seeing as I misspelled it the first time I tried?
Yeah, what is it? VACWM?
No, I think it's VACU. Is it W or UU? I thought it was 2 U's.
Yeah, UU.
UU. Okay, so it's
double. Yeah,
it says VACUUME. Is that correct?
Just UUM.
No E.
No E. Okay. We'll put text over the videos and things like that, because I didn't realize until afterwards. I even tagged you in the post that said the Game Vacuum, and it was spelled out correctly because it was tagged. And then I looked back after I done posted it to 3 groups. I was like, yeah, I gotta have to fix this thumbnail. So this is great.
We've even had a conversation about changing our name. Do you think Game Vacuum's a bit obscure? You think people are just, having trouble finding us? Come up with something a lot easier.
Just the vacuum, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, for me, I feel like it's very unique. It sets you guys apart from everybody else. And, I think you guys have a brand that's really awesome and unique, and I love it. It definitely makes me laugh, and I want everybody to go ahead who's watching this, who wants to follow a pair of really great streamers, like you said, go to the Game Vacuum on YouTube or Facebook, and you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. These are a couple of good guys. They agreed to do this show with me. I'm just starting out, so we're all just helping each other at the end of the day. And I want to thank both of you for being on this podcast. I think it's my 6th interview that I've had with streamers, so I think it's going great, and I really appreciate y'all adding to it. And who knows, when next time I interview you guys, you guys be sitting way up here, on Mount fucking Olympus, and I'm down here like, hey, remember me? Hi, so.
To be brutally honest, we won't be talking to you then.
Recliner, who was that?
Recliner.
Saw his ass at Goodwill last week. All right, I got you.
Yeah. We'll be lucky to be talking to each other by then. We're too big to talk to each other.
Awesome. Well, guys, appreciate you being on the show. We'll be back tomorrow with another podcast with Floss God, the one and only PUBG sniper Rooney, the crazy man himself. It'll be really great. So we'll see you next time. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll put the video up, and I'll let you guys know when it's done edited. I'm not a Darty editor, so it's gonna take me a little bit to get it looking pretty, and I'll let you know when it's up. That way, you guys can share it to your socials and things like that.
Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate the opportunity, man.
Thank you, guys.